Beautiful. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Heidelberg. Welcome to the SNP Dome. And as we said, today I'm going to be talking to you about project orchestration with our specially built tools from SNP that go well above and beyond just a simple project checklist. So migration projects are hugely beneficial, obviously. It's why we're all here today. And they can provide heaps of benefits for any company, whether that's improving business agility, whether it's reducing tech debts, or simply just allowing you to access the latest benefits from the latest technologies. However, migrations do come with large risks. In fact, if you look at studies, you can see that up to 75% of migration projects run over schedule. In fact, one study showed that over 3 years in cloud migration projects, there was over 100 billion spend over budget. So as you can see, it's not just a simple process. And going over schedule, going over budget can mean that hard decisions have to be made where you cut scope or even abandon projects, meaning that all of those great benefits that I just spoke about are not achieved and are not realized with the migration. So if we look at what is really driving these schedule overruns and budget overruns, one study showed that for large IT projects, there was an average of 45% spend over budget. And this study broke it down into 4 key areas. If you look across many different studies, articles, talk to people, you'll see these reasons come up time and time again. First off, you have a missing focus. If you have a team which is lacking transparency, lacking a common understanding, then you don't have a clear understanding of the goals and objectives of the project, which can lead to poor decision making and wasted efforts. Next, we have execution issues. If we have poor planning, which leads to reactive planning and changes across the schedule, it leads to lack of efficiency across the project. Next up, content issues. Anyone that is familiar with migration projects knows content issues can be a massive challenge. Whether it's facing the sheer amount of data, the complexities within your data, or of course data quality issues as well. Data complexity is something we have to deal with, but it will always be a challenge. And finally, the last one is skill issues. Now, obviously, if you don't have a team that has experience or the required skills, it's going to exacerbate every other issue that you're seeing in your project. If you don't have the required skills or know-how to troubleshoot your problems and quickly resolve them, every other issue is going to be tenfold. So, how can we address these challenges? Well, there are many great ways that we can reduce the impact of these challenges with our projects. With greater transparency, you can give a focus to your teams where you have an aligned, common understanding to proceed through decision-making and through the project. With integration with different software components, as well as real-time status updates, it makes proper planning for your project much easier, and you can follow your schedule. With automated testing, analysis and validation, you can really attack those data complexities and all of the differences within your data, as you can identify them early, deal with them, and then make sure that you've actually dealt with them. And finally, guided procedures, risk reduction, other features, and dependency management can actually reduce the skill level required to execute projects successfully. So you might not just be able to magic up a whole team that have years and years of experience and skills, but what you can do is give them guided procedures and safeguards so that they can work within their project and execute successfully. Now, all of this sounds great. It's a couple of buzzwords, but how exactly can we bring this all together? That is where Mission Control comes in. Mission Control is your command center for any project, any transformation project. Mission Control is built to reduce risk, accelerate timelines, and increase the consistency and quality across all of your projects. At SNP, we've invested for years to get Mission Control to where it is today. And we call it Mission Control because that's really how it should be run. You take it with your project, your whole team on board, and you run it to systematically reduce the risk all the way up until your launch date or your go live. So how does Mission Control sit, I guess, within your transformation project? Well, to start with, you've got your super basic, super simple transformation. The goal is to go from your source system to your target system through some sort of transformation, getting your data from A to B. This is not a simple process. Trying to do this without any support or proper resources is extremely challenging and extremely hard, even if you are an incredibly experienced consultant. Mission control sits across these systems and integrates with your transformation engine. It provides you guided processes to get you from A to B, with centralizing all of the actions that needed to be taken no matter what your goal is, whether it's a harmonization, a merger, a one-to-one copy. Mission control is there to guide you all the way through. One study stated that to achieve effective project management, there is no substitute for tested practices. And really, this makes perfect sense. As I've spoken about, customers who are taking on migration projects, they're taking on a lot of risk. They're investing heavily, and they want to be assured that it's going to work. As we saw in Yen's speech today, customers count on us to get these things right. And showing that we have tested practices, proven in field with other projects, is one way to assure customer satisfaction or customer confidence. SNP passes on our practices with our guided procedures in mission control. Throughout SNP's decades of experience in transformation projects, we've built many guided procedures, or as we refer to them in mission control, these are our units. Our units capture the best practices that have been developed by SNP consultants and refined through real-world projects with our partners. And each guided procedure will help you run your project effectively, build on best practices, and learn from our experience. If we have a look at one of our guided procedures or our units now, Bluefield, which if you have used mission control before, it's pretty likely you'll be familiar with the Bluefield unit. It covers a lot of our biggest scenarios. When you load up Bluefield in mission control, you already have a template ready to go to start your migration project. It's made up of transformation cycles, which are made up of different phases. And any transformation cycle can be considered as one test migration. So across a migration project, preparing for your go live, you will complete many test migrations to make sure that that go live has no surprises. With mission control, you can, after you've finished one transformation cycle, you can copy it and create a new cycle based on the one you've just had. And that will take all of the learnings, customizations, changes that you've made through that transformation cycle into the next one, so you can continue to build on the process and refine it for your project. In our units, we have many features which will help reduce risk as well as improve the quality of migrations. These include inbuilt analysis in mission control, which will help you handle complexities in data. You can identify customizing settings, where differences in customizing settings might indicate differences in processes will actually need to be addressed before you go through your migrations. You can also clean up your database with identification and elimination of duplicates, and even identify hard codings through hard-coded value analysis. Through all of these analyses, you can properly prepare for your migration, identify and resolve issues before they become larger problems or showstoppers in your migration. Another way we can help identify issues before they become bigger problems during migration is our intercompany analysis. This is used, for example, in a carve-out scenario. This intercompany analysis runs simulations before migrating the data. It's a scan of transactional data, and it will scan the data that is in scope for the migration based on your company code for the carve-out. What we're doing here is checking that for the company code, all of the transactional data is processed within that scope. The report will give you a green go-ahead light if all of the details are processed within the scope of that company code. But however, if they're not, it'll show you a red report, and it'll indicate that there might be something you need to change. So for example, if you had a project where the customer is a manufacturer and the carve-out scope is say a production plant in Germany, what the scan will check, amongst other things, is all of the purchase orders for that company. If it's found that every item is processed within that German production plant, it's all green, good to go ahead. However, if it finds that one item is actually processed maybe outside of Germany or in another company, it'll highlight that as red. And this indicates to the customer that there's perhaps a process or a scope change that needs to happen. A process change so that they can fulfill that order still, or change the process in a way that allows that, them to fulfill it with two different companies, or they can change the scope of the migration, so then the entire production process is now within the scope of the migration. So with analysis like this, we're not just looking at really technical detail, but we're also ensuring that your migration is successful on a holistic basis. So it's one thing to spot issues early, but the real advantage is in what happens next. Mission Control allows you to customize your project and adapt and customize it for every small little nuance that is particular and unique to your project. As people would know, every transformation project is unique and needs to be customized based on the needs and goals of that business. With Mission Control, you have the power to change your process and refine it as you go through each transformation cycle. You can even create your own automations to accelerate projects and create better efficiency. Even, for example, if you create a process or a bunch of tasks that are specific to one customer, for example, but I mean, as we heard with BMW, you might be completing a lot of different projects for one customer. And there might be a process that you've built in one of your early projects that you know you'll need to use time and time again. With Mission Control, you can even create templates and modules that can be reused in future projects. Another exciting way that we're making this even easier is introducing Copilot in Mission Control. With Copilot, it's a natural language interface where in your own words, you can interact with the project tree in Mission Control. You can create steps or modify steps in the project tree. You can ask Mission Control to give you status updates or updates on the progress of your project. And you can even ask it to give you guidance and support and help in execution. With this, it means setting up your project is simpler, it's faster, you can do it in your own words. It accelerates that project setup. You can also get really quick insights and summaries of how the project is progressing. You don't need to jump into the project tree to find the exact task. You can directly ask Copilot. And this also will reduce the learning curve, both for new resources or people that aren't familiar with Mission Control. With Copilot, you can explore the framework in your own words, get support and guidance at your fingertips to help you really understand and be able to use that Mission Control much faster. So customization gives you control, but maintaining the control and achieving project success means you've got to stay vigilant across the entire length of the project. With Mission Control, we give you different features to help safeguard your project. One of those really important and fantastic features is quality gates. So we'll have different quality gates at each project phase. The quality gate will be specific to what has happened in the project before, and it will ensure that you have checked off all the relevant tasks you need before proceeding to the next phase. So for example, in the scenario preparation phase, you've got a check for the planning of the transformation, where it can tell you if you've missed something, if you need to go back, schedule another object for export, or whether you're all good to go and proceed through the next migration. This means that before you go through the migration, you can already identify, resolve issues, and makes it easier for the migration and a smoother process. We also have testing recommendations. So multiple tests, whether it's technical and detailed tests or much higher level tests, such as our validation reports, which compare aggregated values. We're comparing the data before and after your test migrations. This can help you identify any unexpected changes, anything that was transformed incorrectly, needs to be resolved going forward into your next test migration. And in this way, you can really refine your process, get everything right, ready for you to go live again. And finally, we have predefined and automated checks. Now, a migration project is a huge thing to take on. It can be complicated and long. What we have with our predefined and automated checks are built in to try and help you get to the end goal successfully. We'll have checks, for example, for the conversion from ECC to S/4HANA, making sure that before you complete this step, you've done all of the tasks that we at SNP know that needs to happen before you can do that successfully. We also have automated checks, for example, on your system performance that will run and make sure that you won't have any system outages, which could be critical during migration. Catching issues early is important, but it can be just as critical to prove you've actually done this. So that's where auditability and transparency come in. It turns good process into trusted outcomes. So imagine your company is undergoing a merger. The auditors may need to see a clear, traceable record of every single data change that happened. With mission control, auditability becomes easy, as we have logs, detailed documentation, as well as audit reports that ensure that you are audit ready. This documentation is all stored centrally, and you can download it at the end of your process, ready with all of the information that an auditor might need. And transparency becomes easier with mission control with even less manual effort. With real-time status tracking and integration into tools such as Transformation Cockpit, as well as providing a complete project overview from mission control at any one time, we're reducing the need to switch between applications for project leads to get a real understanding of where the project is going, how it's tracking against the planning of the project, and if there is any risks that need to be addressed. We continue to develop these integrations, and we'll have even deeper integration coming out soon with Transformation Cockpit, where even more detail will be readily available in mission control, again, without needing to switch applications. So all in all, mission control is engineered to minimize risk before, during, and after your transformation project. By starting with a guided procedure and then going through multiple iterations of test cycles, you can identify and correct issues before they become problems and refine your project plan with each cycle. So by the time you get to your go live simulation and your go live, you can be assured that your project has been, the risk in your project has been systematically reduced by iteration and refinement and testing. So now I've shown you the incredible benefits that are at your fingertips when you're using mission control. However, we're continuing to listen to our customers, listening to the expanding needs from the market, and that's why I'm excited to talk to you today about our next generation orchestration tool, Kyano Orchestrator. Kyano Orchestrator is a cloud-based platform that delivers visibility, scalability, and continuity across the entire transformation cycle, both from SAP systems as well as non-SAP systems. As experts in planning at SNP, we're taking our over 30 years of experience and applying it to an emerging area of the market to continue to provide guided, safe, and high-quality solutions. Kyano Orchestrator will act as an integrator for all of our relevant partner as well as SNP products, whether it's Crossway and our new products or our existing products such as Mission Control. By integrating all of these into one single unified workflow from not just through the migration, but also beforehand, so starting all the way from pre-sales through to migration, even going out past post-migration and into data management, providing one single place and one source of truth. Means that we have less handovers between teams and between customers as well. And it means that that unified workflow can improve transparency over the entire project or customer engagement. When we're building Orchestrator, we're really building with our users in mind. So for our program leads, we know that often program leads are working across multiple projects at a time or multiple project streams. That's why we're building out one screen where you can get a quick, easy snapshot of all of your projects that are running or about to start. And you can see quickly there which projects you need to jump into to find out more about which may be at risk or which need attention. You can also see in each project the assigned resources and manage these effectively. For our project leads and also for our customers, we know that you want to have further detail about your project that is consistent and up to date. That's why we're building out further detail where you can see the planning of your project as well as the current progress of your project. We have transparency of the activity, not just within the transformation engines, but across all relevant and integrated applications. In addition, we'll have easier coordination with teams and across partners and teams working on the project, as again, it's that one single place that you can go to find the source of truth. And for our consultants, we've listened to a lot of feedback about how consultants want to work, and we've made small changes that will hopefully address the needs of our consultants as we go forward. To start with, you'll be able to filter your tasks in the project tree, searching, finding those tasks that are assigned to you, most important and most pressing, really easily. You can work collaboratively with your team and also across teams, as you can comment on tasks, you can view notifications, really simply just from that one platform. And probably the biggest change is making it easier to work in the tool that you choose. So with our deep integrations between, for example, Crossway or Mission Control, you can work in the tool that you want to work in, like Crossway, that has the detail that our consultants are comfortable with and want to work in. And you can be assured that in Orchestrator, when you come back, the statuses will be updated. Any tasks that you've created in Orchestrator can also be updated and reflected. Sorry, any tasks you've created in Crossway can be updated and reflected in Orchestrator without any need for you to double handle. You don't need to be updating your project lead manually, as it'll all be done automatically for you. So you can work as you need to, and be rest assured that the rest is taken care of for you. In addition, the dependencies between tasks will be managed by the integrated applications. In this way, we want to make it easier for you to work more flexibly how you want to. So today, I hope that you have joined me in understanding that the Mission Control and Keyano Orchestrator, they're really more than just tools or project planning tools. They're enablers of transformation success. Whether you're managing a single SAP migration or orchestrating a complex multi-project program, both of these tools are designed to reduce risk, increase transparency, and deliver consistent, high-quality outcomes. Thank you very much for your time today. I look forward to seeing how you take these capabilities forward in your own projects. And if you're interested in learning more about some integrated tools with Mission Control or Orchestrator, I encourage you to come along to some of these sessions. Got an afternoon session today on Marketplace. If you want to know more about Copilot and Mission Control, we've got a demo tomorrow scheduled. And then we've also got some user testing areas. So if you're interested in learning, seeing what we have planned in the roadmap and giving us your feedback, check some of these. I think there's still some sessions available in the app. And please, if you do want to have a more technical understanding or further conversations, come see us up at the Move Boulevard. We've got plenty of product experts up there who can tell you even more. Thank you.